Welcome to the Alpha Girl Confidence Podcast, where we are empowering youth female athletes to play and live confidently. My name is Shay Haddo, and each week I will bring you new episodes to teach you the strategies and tools that you need in order to live a confident, empowered life both on and off the playing field. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. First off, I wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. Christmas is coming up this week, so hope you and your family have a really awesome, safe, and Merry Christmas. And in this episode is very, very exciting because Erica Suter's new book, The Strong Female Athlete, is out. So in this episode, Erica and I talk all about her book, about why she wrote it, what you're going to learn from it, and the lessons that she's learned that she also hopes you get out of reading the book. So listen to the episode and then make sure when you're done listening that you go check out the book on Amazon. Links will be in the show notes. All right, enjoy. Erica, what's up? Welcome back to the show. You're our most frequented guest. That was really hard for me to say, but excited to have you on and talk all about your new book, The Strong Female Athlete. So let's get right into it. So first off, thank you for coming on. Tell us a little bit about the premise of the book, and then we'll get into kind of the nitty-gritty details.
Sure. Well, you definitely inspired me to write a book, especially after just blogging for so many years. It just dawned on me, oh, wow, I probably should become a published author since I write so much. So what propelled it was that, and just having all of these content pieces on the female athlete, both scientific based, but also my experience in 10 years of coaching young girls. And there's such a need for this type of text because I was looking around and there's no academic books on the training female athletes. There's one out there that is really great, but it's more of that pediatric medical side to it. They do touch on injury reduction programs and some performance, but they're just like glossing over the tip of the iceberg. So I was like, okay, well, it's a good idea to have a book in this space, and it is the first of its kind. So I'm really excited about that. And it's anything you can think of with training the young female athlete. So growth and maturation, menstrual cycle, performance nutrition, injury reduction, speed, plyometrics, how to properly coach them and progress them. It's literally everything. And then the last half of the book is the mental side to all of this. And you and I have talked before, obviously your work is in building confidence, but it's just that icing on the cake to a performance program is for the girl to be mentally resilient and to take responsibility for her life. And I really wanted to touch on that as well. So I'm really excited for it to come out, and I really think it's going to impact a lot of girls and coaches, the female athletes. So I really can't wait.
I mean, it sounds literally like a handbook for like any female athlete, like literally everything as far as physically. And then you get the mental stuff in there too of how to, be a strong, resilient, confident female athlete. So, and I was going to ask too, like, is this for all female athletes? Is it geared towards one sport?
Yeah, it's for all female athletes. So any sport, softball, gymnastics, track, cheerleading, like soccer, whoever you are, this book is for everyone. And I didn't want to limit it to just soccer players because every female athlete goes through all of the things that I discuss in the book. So when they're going through their growth spurt, or just maybe that awkward phase, or they start to get their cycle and they don't know how to tweak their training and their recovery. So I wanted to make sure I included all sports. And it's for middle school, high school, college, any age.
And is it for, I'm assuming it would be really powerful for coaches to read that coach female athletes, and then also their parents. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So it's, yeah, anyone can read it. And if coaches pick it up, it is a very educational text. There's a lot of science in it and research, but in a way that is more fun to read than a bunch
Right.
of scientific studies, which is another reason why I wrote it. I was like, yeah, like, there's a lot of academic books out there and studies, but no one writes about it in
Like
a
a real
captivating,
way.
yeah,
Right.
like I want people to actually be engaged in the book and understand the science and just enjoy reading it too.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, so yeah, so many of those books, it's like, I don't even know what the heck they're talking about. Right. So I love that you have the science and the research, but you do it in a way that like anyone can understand. Right. But it's like that has a science backing to where it's good to know all that stuff. So that's what, one thing I really love about your writing. And you are an amazing writer. So I'm so excited to get my hands on the book as well and dive into it. But I want to get into like kind of your writing process a little bit and just kind of, I think it would be fun selfishly for me to hear, but also for the audience to get like behind the scenes, like that kind of thing. So for you, what was like your favorite part of writing the book? Is there a favorite section or like, what was your favorite part of the process?
I think just hanging out in the coffee shop,
Yeah.
like it's so funny because I wrote the majority of the book in this like cute little coffee shop in downtown Tampa. And it was just nice to be like lost in my words and in like that creative space. And I didn't really like go in with a plan. I think I just had so much in my brain over the years of like my research and schooling and just with the girls that I've worked with and the conversations I've had with parents and coaches and young girls that it was just this massive brain dump.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you felt the same way with your book, but writing it was easy, but the editing was the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like the actual content came very quickly because there was so much to say. But then like the editing, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to read this for the 100th time because you keep finding things you want to fix and you don't feel like you're adding enough. And that was the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
So I just enjoyed writing every chapter, but I think the one that I like the most is towards the end, and it's on just taking responsibility for your development, taking responsibility for being your strongest self physically, but
Yeah.
also mentally, and not relying on my book or me to save you. Yes, the book is going to light a fire under your butt, but if you don't implement what I'm saying in this book, then it's useless. So the final chapter is a call to action
Love
for
it.
female athletes, for everyone involved in female sports, coaches, parents, DOCs. Everyone needs to take action so these girls stay healthy and
Yep.
they're not destroying their confidence. Everyone plays a part and people really need to take action on this.
Yeah, and I don't want to get, off of a tangent too much, but do you feel like that, personal responsibility, do you feel like that's one of the things that a lot of, teenagers and female athletes are lacking right now?
Absolutely. And I hate to bring like social media back into it. I mean, that's also a big part of these
Yeah.
whole chapters, but I am finding more and more girls looking outside of themselves for the answers and not really taking charge, or they're easily distracted. And I just wanted to put like everything in the book. So it's like, okay, here you go. You got a framework based on science and experience-based research, and do what you want with it. But like at the end of the day, you really need to own your development as an athlete and as a human.
Yeah.
And parents and coaches need to lead the way too.
Yeah.
Um,
Starts with
and
them.
we've talked about this before. And if coaches and parents want their young girls to become less injured or become more fueled with good nutrition, they need to lead the way. They need to heal themselves. So everyone involved needs to take action.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that that's like kind of at the end because it really is like if they read the book, that's great, but without actually taking action on it, it's like it's kind of like, what's the point, right? How many books have we read in our lives where it's like, oh, this is an amazing book, but like, did I actually apply the concept? So I love that you've really kind of, tied it all together in that last section, because I think it's so important, not only for the girls, like you said, but also for parents and coaches and leadership, people in leadership positions. So I love that. So I'm really excited to ask this question, because when I wrote my book, there was like so many lessons that I learned along the way of writing the book, just about me and about some things that maybe have held me back in the past and stuff like that. So what are some lessons that you've learned from writing the book, from editing it, from getting it out into the world and all that stuff that comes along with it?
Oh my gosh. It's funny you ask this question, because I haven't been able to really reflect on it too
Yeah.
much because
Mhm.
I'm so fresh off
Right,
the
right.
book. But I think the biggest lesson has been coming to the realization that I sh- I don't want to be enabling this culture of more specialization and more things on female athletes lists and more obligations. I don't want to be enabling it, and I don't want girls to feel like they need me, even though the work I do, it is valuable and it does help them to stay healthy. But just coming back to that personal responsibility, I don't want them to always have to rely on me.
Yep.
And especially for the older girls, it's like, okay, by this point you should have learned enough from me as a coach that you should be able to go out into the wild
Into the
and
wild.
be okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's the one thing missing in female sports, is that autonomy and that free play and that exploration. And I do touch on this in the beginning of the book, the early specialization culture.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
we're stuck in it, and it is an epidemic of overuse and burnout and this lack of creativity. And it's almost like we can't get out of it. But it's like, who got us here?
Mm,
Adults, coaches,
yeah. Right.
parents who are paying the system.
Right.
And I talk a lot about that, and how we're just enabling it more and more. And it's like, okay, well, what are people going to do about it? They see the burnout rates, they're not getting better, they're getting worse. They see the ACL numbers still going.
Yeah.
So people need to make a change. They can't just like sit there and complain about it.
Right.
So I think like the main message is just coming back to just taking responsibility and really like zooming out with what's going on in female sports.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important that this book isn't just for the girls themselves to read, but also I'm seeing already. I haven't read it yet, obviously, but I'm seeing a lot of important themes that parents and coaches can again get out of this. So that's really really important. And what like, I know this is like such an exciting time. So right now, like as we're recording and when this is released, like the book is live in the world, like your first book. Like how does it feel, and like what are you most excited about, like just for having this out into the world and for girls reading it and all that kind of stuff?
It's so exciting. It's like you see your words and your ideas just come to life, and you're just like, wow, like I am really excited for this to create an impact. And
Yeah.
my hope is people find it useful.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
that's why I wrote it. And I hope people are inspired to change things that aren't working for them, to change things that are causing more injuries in female sports, to change things that are causing girls to not perform at their best, to change things that are making girls just not feel confident. It's like we're complaining about all these things in female sports, but no one's doing anything. So I really hope people find it useful. And I don't give any injury prevention programs in the book. It's not
Yeah.
it's not a program book. It's more of a call to action. Here's the science of what's happening with these injuries and the female body, and why it's so precarious during growth, and how we really need to make sure we're treating girls with care, but also female athletes are taking care of themselves. With their physical health, their nutrition, their sleep, all these things that you and I always talk about.
Yeah.
So I just hope people look at it and they're like, wow, there's a lot of areas that we're failing girls, and we need to really make a change now, because a lot of people are focused on, oh, well, the hips are weak.
Right.
Their confidence is low because of social media, but there's like so many other things going on.
Yeah.
So it's just really, I hate to say it, holistic, but it's that really holistic perspective that I hope people find useful.
Yeah, it's really like you just want people to actually change and make changes from reading your book. And I can say, like, the absolute best feeling that I probably ever get in my business is when I get a message from a girl on Instagram saying, "Hey, I read your book and I implemented the pregame routine and my team implemented it and we feel so much better." Or when I just see like a girl with a picture holding the book and just saying like how much she's enjoyed it. Like that for me has been like the most humbling and exciting and like awesome thing that I think I've ever experienced. So I'm so excited because I know that's going to be, similar for you, where it's going to totally, change and transform so many girls. So I'm so excited for you to experience that, because it's like, it's different with like a podcast or a program, but like when it's something physical and tangible, like a book that lives in someone's home, it's like so much more intimate. So for me, it's like, oh, I can't wait for you to experience that.
I'm so excited for that, and I'm glad you brought that up. And yeah, that's when it's like, okay, I'm really glad I got this out there, because if it can really light a fire within someone to just take charge of their life and their athletic career and their health, like I did my job. And
Yeah.
I've gotten some very emotional messages just thanking me for even just my blogs.
Yeah.
And in 2021, I'm shocked people read blogs still, but
Yeah.
I'm really grateful. So I can't even imagine what's going to happen with a physical book that these girls can just keep in their soccer bag.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool. So I hope I get those messages.
You will. You will. I know you will. I mean, if it's coming from you and it's coming from your heart, then I know it'll happen. So yeah. And curious also, because when I was writing mine, I was like, there was a lot of fears and doubts and questioning myself and all of that came up. Did you have any fears that come up while you were writing, or kind of, looking into the future about how it would do or how it would land or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think people sometimes get triggered when you tell them to take responsibility.
I
And
agree.
that's the message I repeat over and over and over again in the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit not scared about it, but just I know it's going to ruffle some feathers. But
Mm-hmm.
if I don't ruffle feathers with my writing, then I don't think I'm making as much of an impact.
I agree.
People need to be called out.
Yep.
And again, no one's written about these topics in female sports.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be extremely important if we want to continue to move forward and really reduce injuries, optimize performance, increase confidence. People do have to be okay with being called out. I call out coaches as well on some of the workouts they're taking their growing female athletes through, and how they need to change them because of the research behind injuries. And people are going to be like, whoa, we need to change some things that we've always been doing for all these years. And I think that really scares people to disrupt their routine. But I'm like a little worried about, but I'm worried about it.
Yeah. It's like kind of this like unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is like being triggered, nobody likes being triggered, but being triggered is actually a good thing, because it's showing you something inside of yourself that you haven't seen before. right? So if someone gets triggered about, oh, she's calling me out, it's like, good, that's great that you feel triggered. Now can you look inside and be like, okay, I needed to be called out because I wasn't aware of that on my own. So I really like respect that and appreciate that about you, is that you always speak your truth. You aren't afraid to ruffle feathers. And I think that's really important, because that's honestly what creates a lot of change, is just being, it's not like you're purposely trying to ruffle feathers or call people out, but you're just speaking your truth. And if that's what happens when you speak your truth, then that's what needs to happen. So that's my thoughts on it.
Amen. I'm with you there.
Yeah, but I love that though. That's I'm excited for you to see, the responses too. And actually, as we're talking about triggering people, and with social media, there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be, trolls or whatever you want to call them. But has it ever crossed your mind, or do you have any fear around, negativity, or people that, will troll or hate or any of that on your book?
No, I don't. The things that I'll always ignore are like personal attacks.
Yeah.
Because if people attack me personally and my character without even meeting me, then it's like, okay, I'm not willing to entertain that and have a conversation with a hater. But if someone, emails me in private and they say, hey, read your book, I didn't agree with this and here's why, like, do you want to explain that further? I'm willing to have those types of conversations, but I'm not willing to have conversations where people are just rude and disrespectful just to be rude. If you disagree with me, then just kindly reach out and let me know, and excited to hear what you have to say. And
Yeah.
that's how I deal with it. I mean, there's so many, I can probably name like 50 people who I've blocked on Twitter.
Yeah, I know.
But again, those were all personal attacks and people assuming things. And I was just like, okay, well, this is not really worth the conversation because I'm not going to change your mind anyway.
Right.
But if people disagree with the training method, then that's fine. That's normal. So
yeah. And the reason I asked you that question wasn't to get you to necessarily think about it, but more for the audience to like hear how you, someone who just basically put everything out, right? It's like, it's a very vulnerable thing to do, in my opinion, for someone who's done that, to see how, to actually handle those people. Cause people are going to always be like that. Right. So I just wanted to hear kind of how you would handle that if it does happen, because I know that that'll be useful for, girls listening to say, hey, Erica just put her life out there to the world, and she's not going to let people, attack her character or attack her on a personal level. So yeah, that's good. I love that answer. Yeah.
It's like with anything you create and put into the world, it's always going to be up for criticism. So, but I would rather create than not create and live in fear of what could be. I would rather accept the criticism from actually getting something out there than not doing it at all. The former is more worth it to me. So I think that's one thing people need to accept, especially girls who want to eventually be content creators or be authors. It's important to go in with that mindset. It's not for everyone. Only the strong survive, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah. And the thing is like, you put your book out, you're going to get, 10,000 people that absolutely love it. And maybe two that are like, and and it's just an important lesson that we naturally will hold on more to those negative comments than we will to the 10,000 positive comments. Right. So it's just kind of an important lesson. Yeah. Because I'm sure there's plenty of girls listening that one day maybe they know they want to be a content creator or an author, do something like we do. But I think that's just important to know in the realm of, social media and putting yourself out there. So that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. So, okay, let's get into where can people find the book? What are the different platforms? I'll let you go there, and then I'll ask my second question. I was going to keep overloading you with questions, but I'm like, all right, Shay, just let her answer one at a time.
So I'll make it easy for everyone. It's on Amazon. I self-publish, inspired by Shay. which has been just a very easy process and just super amazing we can even do this. But yeah, it's on Amazon, The Strong Female Athlete, and it's available on Kindle as well as paperback.
Beautiful. Love it. And then also I wanted to ask, can coaches order for their teams? Are you planning on having that kind of be an option if someone wants to order for a big group of people?
That's a good question. So I haven't figured that out yet because the book is a higher ticket book. It is a very massive and scientific body of work. And I priced it based on that and comparable to the other academic ones in the industry. But I will figure that out.
I'll help you. I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah. Shay will follow up with me on that one. But yeah, the book is $99 and the Kindle is $79.
Cool. Beautiful. Yeah. We'll see if we can come up with something. Cause I think that would, we could try something, but yeah.
So I would love to sell it to teams in bulk. So that's something I definitely want to talk to you about.
Okay. Beautiful. Awesome. All right, Erica. Well, is there anything else? I feel like you answered all the questions I had about the book and I'm so excited. But is there anything else you want to share about the book? It's out now, so we'll post the links directly in Amazon. We'll post the links there and we'll get it out there. But is there anything else you want to share before we head out?
I'm just excited. I'm excited for female sports, for everyone involved. And if you get your hands on this book, it truly is the guide to the young female athlete physically and mentally. So I'm so pumped for this. And yes. I really think it's going to change people's perspectives and their actions. And I can't wait to hear the feedback.
Yes. Everyone go get your hands on it ASAP. And so parents, if you're listening, I know you probably already have all your Christmas presents, but there's always room for one more, right? And not just one more silly gift, like, a slime ball or whatever kids like these days, like a gift that's going to literally change your daughter's life as an athlete and as a person. And as I say, with like books and all that kind of stuff, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So get it for your daughter, get it for your niece, your granddaughter, your players, whoever it is. And also like share this episode with a friend. If you got a bunch of teammates that obviously want to get better, share this episode with them, share the book with them, and let's get this book out into the world because it's going to make a massive difference. So Erica, thank you so much for coming on. We can't wait to read the book and can't wait for it to change all the girls who are listening.
Thank you, Shay. This was awesome.